Our blue one there and the green one, which is all in this property, to be able to get the rest of that hill out. Otherwise, the rest of it, we're going to go up to the woods. We'll drop down to a 3-to-1 slope and then carry it out at a much flatter grade, like a 2% slope, to try to intercept where the existing land is. This is just another picture so you can see the areas that we're actually mining. So the properties you can see are the straighter lines and the more curved type lines are the areas where we're actually taking the sand out. There might be a little bit of a change right there on the one that I just mentioned, between Bork and Alleman. We might add a little bit right in there to take the rest of that hill off instead of leaving just a peak there. So we are looking at additionally adding that, which would probably get us another 10 to 20 acres, something of that nature. The next site that we want to talk about is the Mondovi site. Mining, I didn't have the exact number of acres because we just recently finished the survey and they didn't have the survey complete. But that's for the JSL sands, and I do have a picture of what we've gone around, and I'll show you of the area that we want to take there. We're looking at 150 loads per day out of that plant going to the south, and 150 loads going to the north. Both routes would be along State Front Highway 37. The one to the south will go to 35, and then down 35 to the Milton site. Again, we'll reclaim as we mine, so reclaiming process will go as the mining does. Again, probably only 5 to 10 acres open at a time. The truck route to the north, again, will go up Highway 37. Actually, it's going to go beyond Eau Claire, get into Eau Claire County, and then on up to Chippewa County. And then again, the wash plant, we want to be able to run 24/7. This is the overall site, an aerial of the overall site. You can see it's pretty large areas, but again, we're looking at more of the open areas, both on the Larson and the Stanton property, and on the Johnson property, which is up above. You can kind of see that diagonal line going through there. That's the high power line. We will not be going north of that at all. And then the woods line that's right up from Stanton's property, we aren't going to the west of that at all either. I'll show you the next one. This one, you can see the red is the outline of where we're going to mine. There's that little box in the middle. That's a 5-acre parcel that's within the Stanton property that is not owned by Stanton, so we won't take that. But that's the area that we're actually going to take. And you can kind of see, it's not real dark, but you can see the outline of the property again on this one. Go back just a minute. What I wanted to show you on the previous slide was actually where the wash plant is going on that one. And I probably should have showed you that on the Montana side as well. If you look down on the Larson property, you can see where the incoming road is, and you can see the wash plant and the truck load out there. Town of Milton, it's the drying and rail facility. We want to run the dry plant 24/7. Rail loading, I'll say 24/7. I'm not sure that we'll always be running that 24/7. It's not likely that we will run it all the time. We're asking for up to 500 loads, and that's because if you take all the wash plants together, including the Gilmanton one, that's what we're pretty close to is 500 loads. We won't be doing that all the time, but there's times where we're going to want to be able to get caught up. For example, when we can't run on holidays, can't run on weekends, or if we have snowstorms, we've got to be able to catch back up again. So that's why we're asking for 500 loads. Unit train out, we're estimating right now every 2 to 3 days. Air monitoring, we have plan to have both on-site and off-site. We've yet to meet with the school on where we'd like to put one over here, but we would like to get one over on the school side of the highway as well. We will have a bag house for dust collection and air quality, and our dust collection and air quality on site we plan to meet or exceed the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources regulations, as well as meeting or exceeding the Miner Safety and Health Administration standards. This is a picture of what we've submitted for the site. You can see we've got the rail load out over the loop track, and we have the dry plant out in the middle out there. We've heard some concerns about that, and so we've got another proposal that'll be the next slide, but I'll talk about this one a little bit first. we're looking at doing a loop track on this site for a couple of reasons, but one of the major reasons is we never have to unhitch the cars and be hooking up additional cars and slamming them together all the time. The nice thing about a loop track is they'll come in, BNSF will come in, they'll run onto the loop track, disconnect their engine, and take off. And those trains will all stay together. The engine that will be on site, which will be a trackmobile that would be owned by Glacier, will come and hook up and then start pulling it through to be loaded up. Once they're loaded up, the reason we have 3 rails is so that we can pull them over onto another rail while we can continue to load the next train if it doesn't get picked up right away. Let's take a look at the next one. What we looked at with some of the concerns we heard about where the plant was located, this parcel actually goes over onto the other side of the road. So we thought, well, let's look at putting the dry plant over on the other side and having the trucks enter straight across on the rail and try to improve things a little bit based on some of the comments we've heard. And we feel that this is actually a pretty good improvement both for us and for the neighbors. We're still evaluating that one. The biggest issue right now is how we get the sand across. And we've had some discussions already with XL Energy, which owns the transmission line there, and what our clearances would have to be and what we'd have to do to make that happen. So we are in that process right now. This is a picture of a dry plant. We thought we'd put up a typical one about the size of what we're looking at. As you can see, it's not the 90 feet tall that we've heard the rumors on. It's about the same height as the trees in that area. The tallest part of it is the bucket elevators you can see up on the silos. And actually, it's fairly low profile in comparison to some of the other plants. With that, I guess I'd like to turn it back over to Wayne, unless you guys want to ask some specific questions on the different sites.
Those trees are 6
Well, at this time, I think we'd like to ask questions. Just take one side at a time.
Okay.
Let's take the 7 Sand site. Board got any particular questions?
Frac, you want to back up first?
I've got one on the 7 Sands. There's several sites, 6 or 7 property owners.
Correct.
You plan on taking them off all the property at one time, or just one property?
No, again, like I say, we'll only open 5 to 10 acres at a time. So we'll start with one, and we'll work on that one until we're done with that one, then we'll move to the next one.
And how much time would you estimate to be at one site?
With 450 acres, it's going to take a long time to get that done. We haven't calculated out exactly what it is, but it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 years.
Because
Yeah.
wouldn't you think some of these property owners would want their sand moved now? Did you come in agreement with them?
We've had discussions with them on how we're going to do it, and they're in agreement with what we're talking about doing. We don't want to take it from all the sites at once because, number one, we'd have too much open. Number two, it's just that's too hard to control. We want to consolidate what we're doing. We don't want to scar up the whole area. We want to be able to take it, like I say, 5 to 10 acres at a time, and work our way through it, reclaim that one, and move on to the next one.
How long do you anticipate?
Yeah.
How long do you anticipate it will take you to do 5 to 10 acres?
I would say 5 to 10 acres will probably take. It depends on the thickness of the sand, really.
Understandable, but I mean a rough average.
You know, I would say we're going to be doing that in probably less than a year.
Okay. And you indicate you're going to reclaim as you move along, and you understand the reclamation fees and the rest of those type of things.
Correct.
We have not seen any formal reclamation plans yet. When will we see those?
Once we get the CUP approval, that's usually a condition of the CUP approval, then we'll go in full design mode on the reclamation and the phasing.
Okay, and you talked about running the wash plant 24/7. What sort of noise issues do you have associated with the wash plant?
It's all going to be indoors, so there will be very little noise. I mean, you might hear it if you're standing right outside the building, but that would be it.
Okay, and as far as loading and unloading facilities, are they going to be inside the building as well?
Correct.
So everything will be contained? Will it be negative pressure environment of some sort?
Well, on the dry plant, yes. You won't have to do that in the wet plant because it's wet sand.
Okay. As far as side slopes, you talked about that for the reclamation being 3-to-1 and then 2% slope afterwards. What about around the actual mining sites themselves? Are you looking at berming between the roadways and anything along that line?
We probably will berm along the wash plant itself. I'm not sure that we can do it. I mean, I guess that's part of the reason that we're meeting with you now is to get some interaction with the county and what the county would like. It'd be very easy for us to do a berm on the road side of the mining face. Obviously, the berm isn't going to be as tall as the hills are, but we could do a berm to at least, screen some of the stuff that's down.
Something with the overburden anyhow.
We have to do something with it. That's exactly right. We can put it down there and do that as a berm. That's as good as any place to put it. So.
Okay.
Oh, yes, whose property is the plant going to be on?
That would be, go to the next slide, please. Actually, 2 slides, one area. If you look on Bork property, in the south part of it, you can see the, oops, there we go. Or maybe I'll come up there and point it out. You can see it right up here. Right straight above my finger, you can see the red up there.
Right,
that's where the plant's going to go. That's on Dennis and Deborah Bork property. What we plan to do is the road in will be along the field entrance there. That's actually on Mr. Hellman's property.
Okay, Becker Road, is that a private road or a town road? Becker Road.
I believe that's town road.
That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay.
Have you, I have a few additional questions. Have you met with the neighbors, the non-mining neighbors, the adjoining property owners on any sort of land value guarantees or anything of that nature?
Not yet. We've done that in one of the mines, the Rolling Acres one. That's already been done on. But that's something that Wayne and I will be working on.
Okay. And the interior roads within the mine and leading out to Becker Road, I'm assuming those are all going to be paved?
We actually aren't going to run on Becker Road. What we'll probably do is, or what our plan right now is we'll run a conveyor right along that section line, and so we'll feed the plant via conveyor, even all the way out to the west or out to the east. So we won't run on the road with trucks.
Okay, but you're still going to have to haul the stuff out of there. The point I'm making is when you're leaving.
When we haul out, we'll come out, like I say, that field entrance that comes right out to County Road U.
And those entrance roads are all going to be paved.
Correct.
I just want to verify that. We had that discussion before.
Yes. Yeah. Now we may have some off-road trucks that will get it to the conveyor from the face of the mine, but that will all be off-road trucks, and those ones won't go on the road. The only ones that will go on the road will be the trucks hauling out to wash sand.
Okay. We could talk a little bit about the proposed plant and the site across from the school down here. I understand you're looking at different options right now, so anything we're talking about now is going to be fairly preliminary and subject to a great deal of change, I would assume, correct?
I think let's go to the next slide, please, Roger. I think we're leaning towards this one right now. We just have to work out some issues. Again, like I say, with XL Energy and how we're going to cross with the sand. We'd like to convey it across. That way we don't have the traffic crossing both the town road and the railroad track. So our preferred method from here would be conveyed over to the from the dry plant to the railroad out.
Okay, as far as getting from 88 to this site, if I remember correctly, you can go 88 to 35 up to Prairie Moon Road and in that way?
That's what we're looking at right now, correct.
Have you considered any sort of direct route going across due west from 88, building the access point in that way, rather than having to go up past the school and down 37?
We actually have talked about that. Part of what we're looking at right now is we're evaluating the bridge on Komorowski Road. We have Cedar Corporation is doing a rating of that bridge.